It's still early days in the January transfer window and we're still to see a big money move, and it looks like it's not going to come from Celtic and Rangers, especially involving BOJAN Miovski. He's practically been ruled out of a move to Glasgow, with Aberdeen slapping a £5 million price tag on his big forehead. Welcome back, guys. Talk football for your 4th of January transfer roundup, and Aberdeen have said that Miovski is not leaving the club, especially not for peanuts, and if he is going to be leaving the club, then it's going to be for a lot of money, and that money would be at least £5 million. Now, Aberdeen signed Miovski for 600k. So if they could get 5 mil, if they can get around 5 or even over 5, then you are approaching almost making 10 times the amount of money on profit that they got from Miovski. So that would be some deal for Aberdeen if they can get that amount of money. And since it's so much money, it pretty much rules out Celtic and Rangers. We know both clubs were interested in Miovski. Both clubs could definitely be doing with a player who has the quality Miovski, and more importantly, the goals that Miovski seems to bring. But £5 million just isn't going to happen. Celtic and Rangers can spend £5 million, but they ain't going to do it on a team from Scotland. They just haven't. There's nothing to suggest that they will spend this amount of money. We've never seen it in the past. You know, we've seen them spend maybe 2 or 3. Even John McGinn, Celtic didn't want to spend 3. I just don't see it happening. I think Celtic and Rangers, they want the best players from the other teams from Scotland for peanuts. That's a fact. We've never seen them pay what players are worth, and even when they do sign big players, you always feel like they've shortchanged them, or normally they'll wait till their contract runs down, they'll get them on a free, or they'll get them when there's only like 6 months left, therefore, you know, they're paying the bare minimum. But you look at all the really good players that have left clubs in Scotland to go to Celtic or Rangers, and the money just hasn't been what it should have been, and I don't see them paying £5 million for BOJAN Miovski. They can spend £5 million on a striker, but I just don't think they'll pay £5 million to a fellow Scottish team. And we need the Scottish teams to be stronger. We need them to be braver, and they need to refuse these low-ball offers for the old firm. I mean, the gap's already huge, right? It's never going to close. How are the teams that want to try and, I don't know if they want to, but how are the teams that are trying to have a little bit of ambition and maybe one day hope to challenge the old firm? If you're going to constantly sell your best players to them for less money than what they're worth because you're desperate for a bit of cash, then that gap's just going to get bigger. So I don't think Aberdeen will sell them cheap, and I think the Celtic Rangers will have to look elsewhere. Now, the Pittodrie Executive Chief Alan Burrows came out and says there is no rush for Aberdeen to sell their key assets. However, he did admit a player like BOJAN Miovski has quality, and as much as they would love to extend his stay at Aberdeen, it would be naive to think that the level he is playing at won't be attracting big clubs. And then he went on to talk about the football is the jungle and the nature of the jungle, basically saying, look, we're Aberdeen, we know we can't hold on to Miovski forever, but we're going to enjoy him while we have him, and when the time comes that he does have to leave, it's going to be for big money. And I think that is fair. I don't think it will be to Rangers or Celtic, because I just don't think it will be. I just don't see them paying that kind of money, especially the money that Aberdeen want. And speaking of who both Rangers and Celtic can get, let's speak about who they can not get, because both have been interested in a move for Liverpool's left-back Owen Beck, and both have had those moves rejected. Both have been slapped away by Liverpool, who are not allowing Owen Beck to go. The reason they recalled Owen Beck is because they're light in that area. They've got injuries to key players. So why Celtic and Rangers thought they could perhaps get this guy in January, I'm not too sure. But Liverpool are like, no, look, we need Owen Beck. We recalled him from Dundee for a reason, and that reason wasn't just so we could move him on like a week later. Now, Celtic, I think, do have issues at the left-back position. Greg Taylor is a strange one. I think the guy was great at Kilmarnock. He got the move to Celtic. We didn't really know if he was Celtic quality. I think when he started at Celtic, he didn't really impress that much. But under Ange Postecoglou, the guy looked great, okay? He did. And I think he's one of those players, though, because he's Greg Taylor and he's got a Scottish name and he's not like some, foreign-sounding guy with a good name, a footballing name. I feel Greg Taylor, as good as he can be, as soon as there's a couple of bad performances, he's going to get called out because he's Greg Taylor. It's like Liam Scales, for example. He's playing really well right now at Celtic, but I guarantee you, after a couple of bad games, Celtic fans will throw Liam Scales under the bus, and he'll not be good enough because he's Liam Scales, he's Irish, and he's got ginger fucking hair. Okay, that is the point that I'm making here, and I think that Greg Taylor has, at times, under Ange Postecoglou, played really well, looked a great player, but I just don't think people want Greg Taylor to be the number one. I don't think anyone's ever going to look at the Celtic team and be 100% happy with Greg Taylor as the number one. Even when he's playing great, I think if you look at the Celtic team and you ask Celtic fans, what's the one position you would like to improve on? I just think Celtic fans will always believe that they could do a little bit better than Greg Taylor. And the problem for Greg Taylor is he's not playing at his best right now. He's not playing anywhere near his best. So I think Celtic do need to look at a left-back. Alexandro Bernabei's got the good name, but unfortunately he's not good on the pitch, so he is a bit of a dud. You look at Rangers, though, I think they're doing better in the left-back position. Borna Barisic has had his doubts pretty much for his entire Rangers career over his inability to defend sometimes, but going forward, the guy's very good, very threatening, great left foot on him. Fantastic with set pieces. As much as you can argue he's a hindrance sometimes at the back, and in big games against Celtic he has looked vulnerable, he definitely is great going forward. There's no doubt about that. And he's only got 6 months left on his contract, but I have a feeling that he will stay. And then you've got Yilmaz, who could be on his way out of Rangers, but I think Yilmaz looks good. At times, he's got the same sort of effect to me that Barisic does. At times, he can look vulnerable. At times, you think he's dodgy and he could be the reason Rangers leak goals. But on the ball, going forward, sometimes he looks really fucking good. He looks like he could be a standout player. He's just never really had a long enough run in the team, in my opinion, to make that big impact. So I think out the two sides, I think Rangers are certainly better in that left-back area than Celtic are, and I just don't think there's a massive need for Rangers to be going out and spending money on a left-back. We've heard £5 million potentially. They're trying to get Josh Doidge, maybe £4 million. I think Rangers have other areas they need to worry about before wasting that kind of cash on a left-back. And speaking of left-backs, let's talk about Ridvan Yilmaz. He has been linked with a move to Hellas Verona, the same club that Rangers are looking at to try and get a left back in. Hellas Verona have showed interest in trying to sign Yilmaz. So what we could be looking at here is potentially a swap. Now, would it be a straight swap? I'm not too sure. I think right now Josh Doidge probably would command a higher transfer fee than Yilmaz. Therefore, if it was going to be a swap, I would imagine Rangers would have to give something in that deal now, whether it be like some sort of sell-on fee for Josh Doidge or whether it would be money. I think Rangers would have to give something, because I just don't see why Hellas Verona would be doing a straight swap. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. And something that doesn't make sense to me is Kieran Tierney. Why is he not at Arsenal? He is the best left-back that they have. He is way better than Zinchenko. And I think Mikel Arteta has done a good job at Arsenal. But that's definitely one of his biggest mistakes, kicking out Tierney so Zinchenko, crybaby face, can play at left-back. But it looks like that might not be the case anymore. Injury to Zinchenko. Arteta is considering recalling Kieran Tierney from his loan deal at Real Sociedad. Now, I don't think this really affects Tierney. For me, whether Tierney stays at Sociedad or comes back to Arsenal and ends up playing second fiddle to Zinchenko, Tierney's that good that he is 100% going to the Euros. So I don't think it matters how much game time Kieran Tierney gets and whether he is first choice or second choice. For me, he goes to the Euros 100%. As long as he's not injured, you have to take him. But just regarding his potential career at Arsenal, whether he goes back or not, He should be the #1 left back. He's way better than Zinchenko. And I go as far as saying he's better than Robertson. And look how much Liverpool appreciate Robertson. I don't see why we can't have some similar way Arsenal. I don't see why Arsenal can't have Kieran Tierney as their left back for the next 4, 5, 6 years, and he can go on to bring them success. Anytime I see Kieran Tierney play for Arsenal, he's looked really good. I've never looked at Arsenal and thought, Kieran Tierney's the problem. Kieran Tierney is the weak link. However, when Zinchenko's playing, I think that all the time. So yeah, I look at this, I just don't understand it for Arteta. Maybe he can rectify the problem and get Kieran Tierney back, but it's just, I just don't understand it, how Kieran Tierney's went from being Arsenal's next big thing to being loaned out to Real Sociedad. And we know that Newcastle last season were interested in him too. That could be another potential move, but right now I'd say a likelihood is he stays at... Oh, Newcastle aren't going to buy him unless Arsenal recall him in this window. So it's either going to be he stays at Real Sociedad till the end of the season, or Arsenal do recall him in January. Based on what's happening at Arsenal at the moment, I think they could definitely do with Kieran Tierney. Injuries aside, if they want to put in a league challenge, I think they need this guy because he's a lot better than Zinchenko. And that's it, guys. Catch you in the next one. Still waiting on some more, like some official, some big news. I mean, we've got rumours at the moment, we've got speculation, we've got clubs that are interested. But I'm still waiting on that big move. Where's the big money move? Come on. Everyone's fucking sleeping so far, man. Wake up. Make some bloody transfers. Give us something to talk about. Anyway, guys, that's it. Catch you in the next one. Peace.